let's start with what we've just kind of learned. We know that Brad Marchand is on his way to Florida. That follows Seth Jones being on his way to Florida a few days ago with some salary retained for the next 5 years. Brad Marchand's contract, it's looking like the deal, and it's not totally confirmed yet, but the deal is a 2027 second-round pick. That's it. That will conditionally move to a 2028 first if certain conditions are met. You can't trade a 2028 first, but you can trade a 2027 draft pick that turns into a 28 because technically it's a 2027. Still don't know what the conditions are, but I got to ask you first as a Leaf fan, okay? How does the prospect of Brad Marchand joining up with Sam Bennett and Matthew Tkachuk and the Monstars in Florida, what feeling does it fill you with?
Dread, anger, whatever emotion the Joker had when he was laughing for real and because he had that weird tick. I didn't like that film. I liked the previous version of the Joker. Anyway, Maddie pointed out that that is probably the craziest 180 in emotions I've ever had in these studios. It was announced that Marchand was going to the Panthers, and I was writhing in pain like I was being haunted by Nosferatu. And like it was just...
Did he appear in your bedroom and did you make out with him?
Just Brad Marchand going to the Panthers. Hated it a lot. Dude, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. They could potentially line up in the first round. It's not against the Bruins. The Bruins finally missed the playoffs. It's ding dong, the witch is dead for at very least the time being. They could come back next year and be fine and dandy. They're not now. They're gone. Ha! Marchand has been traded to the Panthers. Ah! No! No! Have I made myself clear?
I think he doesn't love it.
I hate it a lot. And of all the places, why didn't... You know what? Patriotism can blind you. My spidey senses should have been... I just heard myself scream down the hall because there's a delay. No, there should have been... My spidey senses should have been tingling when Marchand got put on a line with Sam Bennett at the Four Nation face-off. The prospect of putting them with Matthew Tkachuk, I want to die.
Yeah.
Winning the division
Yep.
is necessary. It is a borderline requirement to enter the Stanley Cup playoffs today. Oh my God. Who wants to play the Florida Panthers round one? Raise your hand. Raise your hand, boys and girls. Anyone?
Matthew Tkachuk in the lineup or not? Don't want to play them.
No, I don't want to play him with or without. No. Ew. Yucky. No. Thank you. I don't want that at all. So I was devastated and angry and sad and turned on, but in like a frightened way. Like it was an awful 2 or 3 minutes or so. And then we find out the Leafs are getting Brandon Carlo from the Boston Bruins. So what's funny, a lot of you probably haven't seen it yet. We did a video about, it was the Charlie Coyle, Casey Middlestat trade. And I was like, you know what? I really like this deadline from the Bruins because like they're selling and they're getting assets, but they're also staying competitive. And like they have aspirations of like, playing meaningful games down the stretch. Who knows? Maybe a squeak in, play a few playoff games. Who knows?
Yep.
Right? And then bang, bang. One after the other, they get rid of Carlo.
Yep.
Which really surprises me because it's not really a move they had to do.
Yep.
And they get rid of Marchand. Like, there's no way they make it.
Well, yeah.
But
it's not their goal anymore.
It's not their goal.
It's not their goal. Like, they're waving the white flag. They know that they have to retool for next season based on this entire season, how it's gone. If you've watched any Bruins games, you know they don't have it. The amount of leads I've seen them cough up on like a Saturday before the Leafs game, it's unbearable if you're a Bruins fan.
You know what? There's a greater than 0% chance of happening, though? The Florida Panthers win the Atlantic, and the Bruins get into one of the wild card spots and play the Panthers.
There's no way. That would be fun.
It's not going to happen, but it would be psycho.
That would be fun. So the Florida Panthers get Brad Marchand. He fits their DNA perfectly. It couldn't.
No assembly required.
The Panthers stand on the shoulders of giants, and the giants are Brad Marchand and Zdeno Chara and Patrice Bergeron. And I have a crazy stat for you guys. Are you ready?
No.
This will be the first time since 2002 that a Bruins roster will not feature one of Patrice Bergeron, Brad Marchand, or Zdeno Chara.
Wow.
Talk about continuation.
I always get offended when people remark how many gray hairs I have.
First time since grade 9, Steve.
It is incredible the amount of hair I have, period, given that fact.
That you don't have a beautifully bald head right now.
Absolutely. You know how they're always like, oh, well, it's actually your mother's father. Yeah, he was bald. All right? Stop telling me that. It doesn't make me comfortable. It doesn't make me feel good about it. The fact, I mean, the Bruins are, there's a reason I have a reverence for them. I hate them viscerally, but the reverence is they always go out and they find the Bruiniest Bruins that ever Bruined, which is why I'm very concerned that they got Fraser Minten. But
but what I'm talking about is Florida, though, is they seem to have, they're the next Bruins.
I think they're the current Bruins. You don't need to be the next anything when you're the reigning Stanley Cup champions.
Right.
Right. They're looking to just continue being the Panthers. They're how many like rentals were there today? Like Rantanen's not a rental.
Not a whole lot.
Right.
There were some.
Marchand is a pure rental, but Seth Jones, that's a forward-thinking move. Brandon Carlo's forward-thinking. Scott Lawton is forward-thinking. Trying to think around the league here. Like it's a new world where the buyers or the sellers and the buyers are trying to think forward. Marchand is one of the few pure rentals we saw today.
Yeah, and an absolute DNA fit. Jesse,
If you listen to Wednesday's podcast, you heard me say this, but the Florida Panthers, I think, are the most disrespected Stanley Cup champions ever, because people don't look at them as a juggernaut that are the reigning cup champions that should be a problem for any team in this league. And that's exactly what they are. And once they get to the playoffs and the entire lineup is healthy, aka Tkachuk comes back, you have a top six of Verhaeghe, Barkov, Reinhart, Marchand, Bennett, Tkachuk. That's the best playoff top six in the league. And I put that distinction on the top six, and that it's a playoff top six, because that can play playoff hockey like no other, because of the compete, because of the level that the Tkachuks and Marchand can get to. Plus, you have Barkov in there as best defensive center in the world. So I think like nobody can compete with this team right now, especially in the East.
Well, and their third line is Lindell, Luostarinen, and whoever wins the lottery of getting to play with those two.
Yeah.
And then your fourth line, whoever is on it, you're the fourth line on a Paul Maurice coach team. Your goal and objective every shift is murder.
Right. And who's on it?
Right now, Jesse, AJ Greer, huge. Nico Sturm, he won a cup as a depth player with the Avs in 2022, and Jonah Gadjevich.
And then that's not to mention the defense, where I think their top four is the best in the East, where you have Forsling, Ekblad, Mikkola, Seth Jones, who was just recently acquired. And then in net, you have the guy who just went 4 rounds of playoffs, and we're like, oh, Bob's cooked 4 different times in his career and was the best goalie in the playoffs. Like, this team is unbelievable. They deserve more respect, and we should all look at them as the top of the mountain, and everybody's got to take that belt from them because they're holding it right now.
Now, I know Dallas and Colorado have some pretty formidable top sixes as well.
Sure.
I would put Toronto in there too, but I would not necessarily to the same level, but any team that's got Austin Matthews, William Nylander, and Mitch Marner on it's going to be pretty good. Playoff top sixes, though, in the cap era, that might be the best one. We'll see. We'll see what the result is. But, like, think about anything that Pittsburgh put out. I know they included Crosby, but who was he playing with? Think about anything that LA did. Think about anything that Chicago did. Like, it is And the talent is spread. It's not one or two players. This is they're just every one of them sucks.
There's not
in the best way.
There's not a single player in that Florida top 6 where you're like, all right, let's see what he can do.
Right.
You already know.
Yeah, this is ninth circle of hell for any team that plays them in the first round.
There was a time where it was like, Brian Rust, well, let's see what he can do. And then we found out what he could do.
Yeah, Nick Bonino, Chris Kunitz.
Well, let's see what he can do. But RIP the HBK line. This is stupendously formidable.
Crazy.